Hey guys, welcome back to Beach and Fishing, and my name is Paul, and Beach and Fishing is my site and channel aimed at everything to do with the outdoors, beach fishing, hunting, hiking, camping, whatever it is that you like to do once you step outside. And along those lines, today we're going to look at 10 smartphone apps for fishing. Now, fishing is a very, very popular pastime. I'm an avid fisherman myself, and we do use apps quite often to be able to give us certain bits of information. My phone's gone nuts here. Certain bits of information that can help us. So one there, for example, it'll give me the best times to catch fish at today. So it reckons today I should be out fishing between 10:30 and 12:30, which it's actually 12:30 now, so I've missed my window. But if I want to head out again at 5:30, I'm back in the optimum time. And that's what a lot of the fish apps do. And without being flippant about it, there is thousands out there, and most of them do a similar thing, so they'll give you weather patterns, they'll let you look at maps, you can see where people are catching fish, you can see what bait they're using, what lures they're using, what fish they're catching. You can look at, weather patterns. And as I said, the best times that they recommend that you can get out there and catch some fish. There's some stuff about sea patterns, there's stuff about sea depths, there's water quality. If there's anything in particular you're looking for, there's an app that will do that for you. So I've sort of tried to go through and just give you a run through of 10, a couple that are well known, and then a couple that give you variations on what it is that you might be trying to do. So let's not waste any time. Let's go in and have a look. So as we go through, so as I mentioned before, I'll look at what they do, how much they cost, their login requirements, and their app store rating. And as I said, they'll give you the outlines, best time to fish, advice for fishing per species, location, bait, tackle, time of day, tides and weather conditions, and so on and so forth. All the ones I look at today will have a free version, but some of them will, there'll be certain costs for certain things. Most of them have a pro or premium version. So you, if you're going for the free version, they'll make their money via advertising, data collection, getting you to go to download other games or apps, and they'll provide access to retailers. But what they'll also do is they'll have the pro and premium versions there, as I've mentioned. Okay, so let's have a run through. First one here is Fishing Times, which is the one I just showed you, and it's one that I use. I actually got put onto this by a mate of mine who swears by it. He swears that any time that he wants to go fishing, he has to look at those time and always catches fish. You can select this. Obviously, I'm in Australia, but I've played around with it, looking at Texas, New Orleans, place in Germany. I even looked at that come up and start part of my research. So the main thing, as I said, it looks at the tides, the sun and moon, rise and set times, moon phases, etc., and gives you what it considers to be the best times to go out fishing in that area. You can base on your location. And as I mentioned, you can go and find anywhere else you want to see as well. So it's quite a good one. Not as much as some of the others we're looking at, but as I say, it's one that we use all the time, and it's quite a good little app. Base version is free. Pro version costs $5.99. It basically removes advertising and adds this calendar functionality, so you can actually see more than one day ahead. If you're just on the plain version, I think you can only see 2 or 3 days in advance, whereas this you can see well further into it. Doesn't need you to log in, but it will ask you for your location. Okay, next one here then is Fishbrain. Now what Fishbrain does is it will, again, I use it here as well. I get little notifications when someone near me has caught a fish. So what that means, if someone goes out and goes fishing and they catch a fish, they plug it in here, and I can see what they caught, what bait they used, where they caught it, what time it was, etc., etc. So as you see here, it'll give you the most caught species, the bait used, time they're biting, current weather, satellite maps with local fishing results, etc. And then if you go to the pro version, more maps, depth maps, fishing forecasts, outline of what baits are catching, personal statistics, pro shop discounts, so on and so forth. So again, this one's free, 14-day free trial, $15 per month if you wanted to go to this pro version, get all this stuff here, or $6 a month if you pay it all yearly. They ask for your location as well, 4.5 out of 5 on the App Store for that one. Next one then is FishAngler. Fairly similar to the one above, another very popular one. allows you to explore, catch, and connect. So it talks about having like its own little social media aspect to it. And they do sort of talk about how it's the best free app in the App Store. Focus mainly on fishing log side of things. So you enter your information, catches, locations, reports, and even the gear you use. You can see some fishing forecasts there. There's some GPS maps if you want to see, what the tides are doing and how the current is. Current's quite important for some place we fish. When we go out on the boat out into the ocean, we like it when there's a little bit of current. If there's no current, it's harder to catch. Anyway, free. You'll need a Google or Facebook or email address to log into this one. 4.7 out of 5 on the App Store. Next one then is ANGLR. Promoting itself as America's best fishing trip technology. Another all-round app. Access all manner of information, real-time conditions, catch patterns, gear breakdowns for each species, personal results tracking, fishing challenges. So they have little challenges in there, and you can actually work with other people within the feed. They also run their own little social media aspects to it here. And you can go in and have a look at what other people are catching, set up little challenges, little tournaments, and the likes. Got maps and weather information there as well. Again, pro version, premium maps, bullseye fishing tracker, transferred, so you can transfer to your boat mount and electronics, so your GPS, fish finders, etc., real-time weather, contour mapping, etc., etc. So quite a lot of good stuff in there. Base version is free, pro version is $30 per year. 4.5 out of 5 for that one. Okay, Fishidy is the next one. Again, another similar one to all the ones above. One of a kind fishing resource to give anglers of all kinds the chance to catch more fish. They talk about how they've got over 20,000 freshwater waterways, 180,000 saltwater waterways, and 1,075 stream gauges. So you can, again, log catches to learn from others. You can see fishing hotspots there. You can see boating navigation and all sorts of stuff around that area. And as people log in, you can see where they've caught fish there. Premium version gives you the marked fishing hotspots. So those hotspots there are actually on a premium version. Nearly 50,000 bottom composition areas mapped and 260,000 vegetation and structure points. So if you're fishing for especially things like largemouth, smallmouth bass, etc., which like structure, then that one will work for you. Base version free, pro version $10 a month. You will need to log in with Facebook or email details, and 4 out of 5 for that one. FishTrack is our next one here. It is aimed at, it's more about the saltwater, and it's more about the water conditions. So as I say here, surface temperature, global satellite imagery for water temperature, chlorophyll, can't think of the word I'm trying to say here, levels, water color, currents, tides, moon phase, marine weather forecasts, etc. So that's something we use an app similar to this. I didn't list it on here because it's very limited in the areas that it has, but it's a very similar app to this one, as in if we're looking at, we go, okay, what's the moon like? What's the weather forecast like? And the currents, because we don't worry too much about the tides, but the currents is something we look at. You can also mark hotspots, GPS locations, etc. And premium upgrades, satellite imagery, waypoint and routes, current, I can never say that word, and altimetry for just your different, areas that you're looking at. Base version free, premium version $14.99 per month, and the iOS and Android as they all are, and you'll need login, Facebook or email to get into that one. Let's look at our bass fishers, bass forecast. Very similar to some of the other things, like when's your best time for going fishing, overall ranking of the day. So if you want to go out on whatever day this screenshot was taken, it's going to be some tough going to try and catch some fish. And that was the Monday. If you look on a Thursday, you can see it's a bit better there. You can see the baits that people use, the presentation that the fish are coming in with, and you can select your locations there, 10-day future bass forecast ratings, historical weather, complete weather details, And the premium has adapted pattern, spot on sonar, tackle tips, cover selector, and notifications there as well. Base version free, premium $2.99 a month, and you'll need to log in with Facebook or email for that one as well. Fish Deeper is our next one. It gives you access to over 50,000 fishing spots, both online and offline, local and global bathymetric maps, as well as feature weather forecasts and historical data. You can keep track of spots, catches, and pictures with pictures and notes as well. So again, very similar to a lot of the ones we've looked at. Gives you maps, gives you, pictures. You can log stuff and see all that in there as well. Base free. Premium version gives you more maps and spots, $2 per month. You'll need Google, Facebook, or email details, and it's another 4.5 out of 5 for that one. Okay, now we step into the last two are not so much about the catching a fish, but how you go about it. And this one is to do with regulations and rules and local jurisdictions, etc. This is aimed at those of you who like to fish in lots of different areas. And what you'll find is that and I know the US is like things are here in Australia, state to state has different rules, species to species have different rules, as in your slot limits, your minimum size, maximum size, how many rods you can use, so on and so forth. So if you're in an area where that you can only use, say, 2 rods, then you need to know that. Otherwise, you can be fined for throwing 3 or 4 rods out on a boat. And, licensing, all that sort of stuff. And it will cover state and federal waters, Maine to Texas, California, Hawaii, Bahamas, and the Caribbean. So anything like that you're looking at, go in those areas and you want to know what your limits are. You can see there for your group, your grouper, released and harvested. So you can keep that sort of information as well, and people can see where that's going. And how that works is because with the premium version, you get more reefs, you get ability to have your catches identified by pro fishers. So if you look at a catch and go, I don't even know what that is, you can get someone to look at it. You've got your location bookmarking and ad-free use. But some of the subscription costs go to fishery sustainability. And that's what some of this sort of stuff gets is, how many people are releasing fish in that area, so they can look at sustainability measures for that. And finally, we all like a good fishing knot. So your Fishing Knots app will give you access to all the different fishing knots that you try. If you click on that link, you'll see I only use 3 knots, but there are thousands and thousands of knots out there that people use. I've seen people tie knots in seconds that takes me months to do. You can see those ones there about joining braid and mono together. I don't use a knot anything like that, but a friend of mine uses this one and he does it in about 10 seconds and it's done. So, if you're good at those, if you either good at them and want to see how they work, or you need to tie something. So if you want to bind 2 fishing lines together that have snapped, leads, different size hooks, baits, lures, swivels, etc., and even how to tie off your boat. You can see that from there. They even have educational stuff on how, because tying knots online actually can damage some lines, especially some of the knots you use when you're looking at things like vibration or the line rubbing together or whatever. So that'll take you through all that as well. Base version free, pro version $7.99 a month. Again, log in Facebook or email, and 4.5 out of 5. Okay, so that's my 10. Now, if you wanted to find more, as I mentioned earlier, there's thousands out there. Go into your this is on my Samsung phone, it's just the Play Store. I did a search for fishing information, and this is what I got. If you search just fishing, you get a lot of games. So I actually changed it to fishing information, and it gives me, you can see some of them are geographical. So that's New South Wales is a state I live in Australia. So you won't see that if you're in the US, obviously, but you'll see different ones. And even some of the ones I've listed on my list, I can't see on my app store because they're not available here in Australia. Okay, and then you just run through and check out what you want. Once you've found that, you can go in and you can log in. You can check out the Premium Pro versions, or you can just get your base information. I have, for example, the one that I showed you a minute ago, that's the Pro version, because some of the people I go fishing with here don't live in this area. So I need to, they'll ring me up and we'll check it out and say, okay, well, we're down in 3 weeks' time. I can see, okay, well, I can click on that and I can see what's happening in 3 weeks' time, and it tells me how many fish, which means with the fishing good, not good, etc., etc. So that's for the pro version. Premium version, the free version, I'm going to see a couple of days worth there. So again, it's up to you what you want to look at. But that's it, guys. That's my 10 smartphone apps for fishing. Hope that was helpful for you. Let me know below of your experiences with any of these apps, or if there's any others you highly recommend and swear by. I'll add it to the list and others can have a look at it as well. Hope that was helpful. Please subscribe if you're watching on YouTube. And as I mentioned before, any questions, comments, feedback, any experience with any apps, comment below. Okay, guys. Hope that was helpful. Chat to you soon. Bye.